Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome to my first wig tutorial. I'm going to be doing Kazuha from Genshin Impact. Here's a run through of my products. I use Got to Be Glued for hairspray, and then one comb and one brush. And I barely used the razor, but I used these scissors and they're not very good. And then this is my Amazon crimper, which I'll link in the description. It was $28. It was the cheapest one, and it is so nice, and I'm never styling a wig without it. It's just so good. And then here's my straightener that I use every day on my hair. So I started using it on wigs, and then a hair dryer. And then I'm gonna be using this wig head I've been using since I was 16. Yeah, so to start, I'm gonna clip the wig so that it's small enough to fit on my mannequin head. My mannequin head's a little bit smaller than my head, but like it gets the job done. And this wig started off being so bad. This one's from Roll Cosplay. It was sent to me. I'll do a review on the whole costume too, but this is what it looks like. It's kind of purpley tinted, which is weird. So I'm just lining it up with where I want it to be, and then I'm using sewing pins to pin it to the mannequin head so that it doesn't like move around when I'm styling it. I'm pinning the top, the side parts, and that's all. Yeah, this is like the placement I do. I try and do where my ears will line up, but at the end of the day, like, you can fix it once it's on your head. It's not that deep. And yeah, this is the monstrosity that it is. I'm not even going to bother brushing it because I'm going to start teasing it, which is step 1. To begin the crimping process, because a lot of people don't tease it before they crimp, but I find it gives more volume. So I'm going to be separating the hair into 3 different layers. So the bottom layer is the first one, and then I start from the bottom. I start from the top and then move my way to the bottom, and then I just tease the fuck out of it. Here's what it looks like all teased, and then I kind of sectioned it into like the sections that I'm going to be crimping it in. And I do pretty large sections just because I don't want it to take too much time, and I'm not too picky about it. And then this is about how long I hold it, and I'm using my crimper on the second setting, like the second hottest, no, third hottest, something like that. And then I just crimp like a little bit, and then I brush it out while it's still hot so that there's no crimp lines. And sometimes if I tease it too much, I have to go over it again with the crimper, just to make it like more even, I guess, or more neat. And yeah, I just keep going up. This process takes a really long time. I think this whole wig took me like 3 hours, and the crimping process is like more than half of that. Like, it takes so long to crimp, and I did take a lot of breaks too. It's good to take breaks because, especially if you're sitting, like, your back can get really sore. So make sure you stretch while you do this, and stretch your arms too, because this can be like really taxing on your wrist. And then this is how it looks like after it's crimped. It's really smooth and nice, and it's easy to brush through, and it doesn't tangle. So yeah, I definitely recommend getting a crimper, even if you don't want to style your wig that much. It's really nice for like straight wigs. And yeah, here's a little brush test. This is the first layer done. This wig is like cut so weird, but yeah, the brush goes straight through it. And then here's a comb going straight through it. It's so nice. And I'm doing the third layer now. Sorry, second layer. I also didn't have any clips to clip it, so I'd use that. So that's all teased. And then this is when it's crimped. I didn't bother filming like the whole crimping process because that would make this video so much longer than it already is. But yeah, second layer's done. I didn't really care too much if the top wasn't as good because it's being covered by the last layer. And boom, teased. Yeah, and then teasing it before you crimp it just makes it so much more floofy and a lot easier to do spikes, I found. And then we're gonna do the spiking process. Oh, never mind. I'm just like sectioning where I want it, and then using this razor to kind of cut the top parts because he doesn't really have white on top of the red. So I'm just like cutting the wig so that it looks a little bit more like the character. I've never actually used this razor, but I like it. Like it kind of, it makes it a lot more neat. And it makes the spikes a lot easier to style too. But do be careful when you're working with scissors and like razors and stuff. Just be careful not to cut yourself because that can happen. And also try not to burn yourself with the heat products. Right now I'm making his little thingies at the top. I'm bending the hair back with a straightener and then blowing on it so it stays in place. So now it's sticking up, and then I'm just like curling it in like a little bit, and then I'm using hairspray, and then using the straightener right after you use hairspray like makes like a sizzling sound, and it's kind of alarming, but it just like glues all that together. Yeah, and don't be afraid to use this on your real hair again. Like it's not really, it's got to be like, it's not gonna be a big deal if it stays on. And then I'm just cleaning up my spikes with scissors. And now moving on to the ponytail. I'm just using a normal ass ponytail. And I also like sectioned off the side pieces and where I want them to go. And I'm gonna be starting with styling his ponytail because I was so scared to do the bangs. Like I always leave the bangs for last just because like, I don't know, save the best for last, but also they just kind of stress me out because it's the first thing that you see when you're taking photos is like the face. So I'm cutting like where I want the spikes, and I'm doing it very loosely because I don't really care that much because it's the ponytail. And then I'm doing like little flickies. I call these I forgot what I call them, like swoopies or something like that. It's literally just like holding, like flipping up the straightener when you curl it, and then I kind of fluff out the spikes and then use the straightener over top to like, because it melts the fibers just a little bit so that it holds their shape. So that's what makes like those volume spikes. I don't know what to call those. It makes it a little more floofy. I don't know. And yeah, I'm just like spiking the hell out of it. And whichever direction, his hair is kind of like flowy, so I didn't really care too much. I also don't really like the precise spikes sometimes. I didn't want it to be too stiff, and I wanted to give it a little bit more of a realistic look, like somewhat. So yeah, and then I'm hairspraying and then just doing the hairdryer. And then the top part, I'm cutting again where I want the spikes, and then doing the exact same like straightener movements. So yeah. And then if I wanted to be like have a little more volume, I go in with the hairspray and the hairdryer, because the hairdryer will also melt the fibers. But yeah, again, just be careful when you're working with this much heat because you can burn yourself, and you will get got to be all of your fingies. And then I clean up the spikes with my scissors. And then just one more thing I should add. The heat itself doesn't curl the wig, it's like when it cools down, so that's why I'm blowing on it a lot. Because my cool air will help cool the wig down. But yeah, if you like, once you heat it up, try and hold that spike for a bit. And then it'll stay in place a lot better when it cools down. Yeah, there's really like not a lot to this. It's just finding where you want the spikes and then using a straightener to flip those up. Yeah, and then cleaning it up with scissors. Like, that's really all there is. It's all just trial and error. If you don't like the spike you made, you could just go over it again with the heat. So here's like I didn't film like me curling all of it because that would have taken too long, but here's what I ended up doing. Now we're on to the bangs, and spike placement is up to you. I like to put them like wherever I want. I don't really like map it out that much. I kind of just like go with the flow. If you want like very character specific ones, you can just look at the reference the whole time, but I kind of like just doing whatever my little heart desires. These bangs were so scary to do. I hate how his bangs are like one over the other, like one hair piece over the other. So I tried to do a few. Yeah, I don't know how it'll sit on my face, but I'll try it out later. And then I hairspray everything just to like hold it in place, and then sometimes I straighten the spikes to make them a little more like prominent. And then here's the finished product. I'm really happy with how this turned out. I think this is like the best one I've done so far. And it's so much better than my last like time trying to style this wig. So thank you so much for watching, and if you have any questions, please comment them down below and I'll be very happy to get back to you. Thank you so much, y'all. Have a good one.